everyone, welcome back to Homegrown Passion. Well, today I'm going to be harvesting this fennel that I planted about 10 weeks ago. Did it this time of year because it grows really well and I have the extra space in the greenhouse since it does take a little bit longer. So I'm harvesting this fennel for my CSA program, and you can see it has lots of fronds or whatever they're called on here. It's a lot of wasted leaves and stuff, but it's well worth it because you have a nice big fennel bulb down here. So what I do is I harvest the bulb, I cut off most of the fronds, I just leave the ones in the middle, these little baby ones, because they're nice for a garnish, and put them in a bag and they're ready to go. So here's a nice big one here, so I just cut it off the channel, then I bring it over here, and I'm making piles a little bit easier, and I just go ahead and cut these guys off. Oops. And maybe pull a couple of these bottom ones off that aren't so pretty, and you have a nice little fennel bulb. So it's a different day, different outfit, back in the greenhouse. So today we're going to be working on our tomato plants. So I should say Doug's going to be working on the tomato plants. That's his babies. Getting all these suckers off of here and trimming up some of the bottom leaves. Because we are starting to get some tomato plants. Just got to work on the peppers here. These guys look pretty good, but the larger ones over there need to be pinned up a little bit better. And also our cucumbers are going crazy, so we got to get the little ones off the bottom, which are my favorite to eat. I have some planting to do over from the nursery channels to get them out into the regular channels, and just all kinds of stuff going on in here. So I wanted to show you guys a problem I've been having with my nursery channels. It's been going on for a while here, and I'm finally going to get my motivation in to redo these channels. These are the original ones we got almost 9 years ago from Crop King. They worked out really good, but right now they're starting to tilt back a little bit, and you can see here from my plant growth, these guys back here are a lot bigger than the ones up here because of the way the channels are going down. I keep it covered to keep the algae out. You can see how the water goes back here, so these back part of the oasis cubes are getting more water than this part. I mean, it's wicking up in there to keep everything grown, but it's not an even enough growth that I'd like to see, because when you put the things out in the channels, you want everything to be even, so when you go to harvest it, it's all even. So I wanted to show you what happened to my poor bok choy plants right in here. Remember, I had the fennel I harvested yesterday, and they were growing way over these poor little bok choy, so they all got stunted, and I got some roots here I got to clean up. But see what happens when you plant things too close together. I should have been a little bit better and kept them a couple trays apart from each other. So here's my harvest for next week. It's Swiss chard from my CSA program. It's charbel, and it's red because that's my favorite color, so I like to grow lots of red things. Doing really well with this low light here in the greenhouse, but the heat's keeping it going good. Here we have kohlrabi growing. I think it's Quick Star is the name of it. A couple more weeks and these guys will be ready for harvest. So I thought I'd tell you about our pepper production here. It's been really great. I'm really happy with what's going on. I've been averaging about 50 peppers, sellable peppers a week off of most of these mature plants and starting off of the younger plants down there. We just have to be a little bit more diligent of keeping these guys pinned up on the strings because the peppers are so heavy, it breaks the branches all the time. And I know we're trying to do the V, we only have the two main lines going through, but some of these guys got out of control and we let them go, and unfortunately they do break off, but real happy with the production here. And you can see how pretty the colors are. There's a nice beautiful red one. So I think peppers are going to be added into our annual production cycle. So I think I've talked about this jalapeno plant before. That I planted them for me and Doug because we do like the jalapenos in Mexican food. And this guy is doing really well. He is almost all the way up to the ceiling. It's going crazy here, and the peppers are getting huge. So I think I'm going to harvest a couple of these tonight and make some stuffed jalapenos for appetizers. The cucumbers here are getting taller and taller. I think we're going to turn up the heat a little bit more because, you know, these are warm weather crops, and we have it right now I think like 68 during the day and going down to 63 at night. I think we're going to bump each one of those up of 2 or 3 degrees just to make it a little bit more warmer in here, and with the lights, you know, to mimic the summertime. So with my English cucumbers here, I'm hoping for production of at least 75 or more a week. I know last year we had a smaller section and I was doing 50 to 60 a week, so with this whole section I don't foresee any problems getting at least 75, maybe even 100 every week. So what I'm planting now is the Shungiku, which is the chrysanthemum green. I always think it tastes like carrots. And the plants are doing really good. Look at the roots down there, nice and white, ready to get planted. So, oops, get a little water there. So let's get this ready to go. My little V on the other side. pull the channel across. Then the first couple ones with the oasis cubes are always the hardest to get out. There we go. Just get all the little roots down in there. I think I've said this before, this is my favorite part of the greenhouse, doing the planting. So I seeded these guys 15 days ago. In the summertime, they will take in the channels about 3 to 4 weeks to grow to maturity. In the wintertime, it's probably going to take me a good 5, almost 6 weeks to get these guys ready to go. I like to get them before they start going to flower because, like I said, these are a chrysanthemum and they do get a flower on them. And the flower is edible. I just think it looks a better product if it just has a little bud on it and you have mostly greens with it. And like anything else, when it's in the smaller size, baby size, it's a lot more tender and a little bit easier to use in salads and different dishes. Oops. So my order with my CSA is usually 400 heads of whatever I'm growing. And I always plan a little bit extra, so this should be about, between this tray and the partial tray, I still have up in the nursery channel about 425 to 430 heads. So that will fill up this whole section here. Because I always like to have extra, because if you have a smaller one, you like to double it up, or if one doesn't grow, or if you have a tray that gets clogged up, you know, you have replacements, because you always want to deliver what you promise to your customers. So I wanted to show you guys what Doug went through and did here in the cucumber plants, just because they were getting a little out of control and how many leaves they had on the bottom. So he went through and clipped up all the bottom leaves here. He got all the little tentacle things, I forget what they're called, off. And because all the leaves were everywhere, we didn't realize we had a leak. You can see we got some algae here on the concrete. One of the emitters was out of that bucket there and the water was flowing down, so he fixed that. And once this dries up, I'll go ahead and clean that up. And now you can see all the little tiny cucumbers that are growing here. So I'm going to go through here and get these all harvested off of here. I know they're not sellable size, but they're really tasty. So I'm going to go ahead and take those off. And the reason to take those off is because then the plants will start producing more. And another reason that Doug took all the bottom leaves off is it helps with the airflow up through the plants here, and it keeps the pests to a minimum, and it just keeps the plants way happier and more productive. From now on, we're going to keep a really close eye on the plants, make sure they go straight up. So you can tell this guy here was just clipped up. He's kind of bent over a little bit, but in another hour, he's going to be sitting straight up. We're going to get all the fruit off as it gets ripe because we want nice, long, straight cucumbers. And you don't want them to get too big and heavy because then they don't taste good. And then it also cuts down the production of the plant because if you let them stay on there too long, the new cucumbers that are coming up will just shrivel up and die, and that'll cut your production for the week after and the week after that. So you got to really pay attention to your plants. So we like to harvest the English cucumbers when they still have ridges on the main body of the fruit, because if the ridges all fill out, then the fruit, it's not as crisp and the seeds start getting a little bigger and they don't last as long in the cooler. And then once we harvest them, we take them into the head house, and Doug has a shrink wrap system that he does, and he's going to put a link to the video of where we show how we do that. So the English cucumber seeds that I purchased for planting here in the greenhouse are all female plants, so they don't need to be pollinated, so you don't have to worry about going through with the toothbrush and pollinating them. So while I was doing all my planting in the back, getting everything in the channels there, Doug was up here working on the tomato plants, and he went through and got all the bottom leaves off of them, got them all cleaned up, got them all straightened up and ready to go. He also went through and pollinated everything, and you know, we pollinate with the electric toothbrush because we don't have enough plants in here to have a beehive, the bumblebees and that, so just hand pollinate every other day or so. So I hope you guys liked today's video, and like always, leave me any questions, comments, or suggestions down below, and we'll see you guys next time.